আজকে সিসি 11 2023-এরটা কমপ্লিট করে নিলেই সিসি 11-এর যে 3টে পেপার সেটা কমপ্লিট হয়ে যাবে। ফার্স্ট কোয়েশ্চেন দেখো, হোয়াট ডাজ দ্য আদারনেস অফ লাভার্স মিন ইন অ্যাডভাইস টু উইমেন? In Advice to Women by Eunice D'Souza, the otherness of lovers refers to the idea that no matter how close two people are, they remain separate individuals with their own thoughts, emotions, and identities. It highlights the emotional distance and mystery that can exist in intimate relationships. Next question. When was Advice to Women by Eunice D'Souza published? Advice to Women by Eunice D'Souza, published in 1988. What do the great green eyes symbolize? In Advice to Women, the great green eyes symbolize allure, mystery, and the captivating but indifferent nature of cats. They suggest detachment and self-possession, qualities the speaker advises women to emulate in relationships to maintain their independence and emotional strength. Comment on the title of Emily Dickinson's poem, I Cannot Live With You. The title of Emily Dickinson's poem, I Cannot Live With You, reflects the speaker's profound emotional conflict. It suggests an intense love that is hindered by insurmountable barriers such as societal expectations, personal struggles, or spiritual differences. The title sets a tone of separation and longing, emphasizing the possibility of their union despite deep affection. Why does the poet abuse her father in the poem Daddy? In Sylvia Plath's poem Daddy, the poet uses abuse as a metaphor for the intense, unresolved anger and trauma caused by her father's death and her feelings of abandonment. The abusive language symbolizes the overwhelming emotional pain, the need to break free from the father's shadow, and the struggle for identity. It's an expression of rage and a way of confronting the father figure's control and influence over her life. Comment on the title of the poem Bequest. এর আগেও একটা প্রশ্ন দেখলাম যেখানে টাইটেলটা কমেন্ট করতে বলেছে। 2 মার্কসের ক্ষেত্রে কবিতাগুলোর টাইটেল কমেন্ট করা বা টাইটেলের মধ্যে কি বলতে চাইছে সেটা লেখা, সেটা একটুখানি ডিফিকাল্ট, যেহেতু 2 মার্কস। 5 মার্কসের ক্ষেত্রে হলে অনেকটা কবিতার অংশ নিয়ে সেটা লেখা যায়। যাই হোক, প্রশ্নটা যখন দিয়েছে তখন তো আমাদেরকে উত্তরটা লিখতেই হবে। The title of Eunice D'Souza's poem Bequest refers to an inheritance of legacy, often something passed down through generations. In the poem, the title reflects the speaker's contemplation of the emotional and psychological legacy left by previous generations, particularly the inherited expectations, burdens, and societal roles placed on women. The title suggests a reflection on what is passed down, both consciously and unconsciously, and how it shapes individual identity. What has been alluded to in the opening lines of Bequest? Eunice D'Souza was raised Catholic, and she alludes to Christ-like sacrifice from the opening lines of the poem. Christ offered his blood to redeem humanity, and the image of a heart is an example of metonymy. The heart comes to represent both the blood of Christ and his ultimate sacrifice. I began to talk like a few. I think I may well be a few. Why does the speaker think so in Sylvia Plath's Daddy? এখানে প্রশ্নটাতে কিন্তু একটু ভুল আছে। এখানে কথাটা ফিউ হবে না, কথাটা হবে জিউ, কারণ কবিতাতে এই লাইনটা জিউই আছে। উত্তরটা লেখার সময় তোমরা কিন্তু জিউ দিয়েই উত্তরটা লিখবে। In Sylvia Plath's Daddy, the line, I began to talk like a Jew, I think I may well be a Jew, suggests the speaker's growing recognition of her own transformation. These may refer to her sense of isolation or feeling like a symbol of all women who have suffered similar emotional or psychological abuse, as well as the realization that her identity has been shaped by these experiences. The speaker is acknowledging her shift from individual to collective pain. What is the setting of the story Draupadi? In Draupadi by Mahashweta Devi, the setting is influenced by the Naxalite movement which began in the 1960s. The movement aimed to fight social inequality and the exploitation of tribal people. Draupadi, the protagonist, is the wife of a Naxalite fighter. How did the husband of Draupadi die? Once, in a particular operation, the military personnel surrounded the whole forest of Jharkhani and they were particularly guiding the vulnerable or weak spots like the water sources. Once, Dulna came over there very secretly to drink water from a water source, but he was betrayed by one of the informers, and he is Dukhiram Ghorari, and then he was shot. On his chest, blood filled out from his mouth. The police later came to know that he was দুলনা মাঝি। এর আগেও দেখবে 2019-এ এই প্রশ্নটা এসেছে যে দুলনা কিভাবে মারা গেছিল। তো সেখানে এই অ্যান্সারটা লিখবে, তাহলে এটা অনেকটাই বড় করে লেখা আছে এবং একদম বই থেকে নিয়ে লেখা আছে, তো এই অ্যান্সারটাই লিখবে। Who is Draupadi in Draupadi and who gave her that name? In Mahashweta Devi's Draupadi, Draupadi Mechen is a protagonist of this story. She is portrayed as a tribal woman and a revolutionary and actively participating in the Naxalite rebellion. Surya Sau's wife gave her the name Draupadi. দ্রৌপদী কে ছিল এবং তাকে এই নামটা কে দিয়েছিল, এই অ্যান্সারটা এটাতে যেটা দিয়েছি সেটাই লিখবে। এর আগের ইয়ারগুলোতে যদি এসে থাকে এটাই লিখবে। Name the central character of Catherine Mansfield's Bliss. How old is she? Bertha Young is the central character of Catherine Mansfield's Bliss. She is 30. এই প্রশ্নটা কিন্তু এর আগের ইয়ারগুলোতেও কিন্তু অনেকবার এসছে। Who were invited to Bertha's dinner in Bliss? Mr. and Mrs. Norman Knights, Eddie Warren, Miss Pearl Fulton were invited to Bertha's dinner in Bliss. In the yellow wallpaper, what does the narrator's husband forbid her from doing and why? In the yellow wallpaper, the narrator's husband forbids her from writing and doing any mental or physical work. He believes it will worsen her condition as he thinks she needs rest to recover from what he calls a nervous disorder. Describe the house the narrator retired to for summer in the yellow wallpaper. The house the narrator retreats to in the yellow wallpaper is an old, secluded mansion. It's large with a garden and is somewhat isolated, situated away from others. The narrator describes it as having a gloomy, unattractive atmosphere, with rooms that are sparsely furnished, including the room with the yellow wallpaper. এই ইয়ারটা তাহলে কমপ্লিট হয়ে গেল।